Got lots of Slater slander following that defeat to Stoke. Hayden says, why Slater played 90 minutes? Never mind started. God only knows. Welcome back to Where Tigers Walk. It's episode 27. Is it justified, all this dislike for Regan Slater? We'll get the team's view on that in a second. Thank you for joining us. Also, we're saying bye-bye, Bedia. I mean, Jack's going to lead that conversation. And hello, Louis Barry. How on earth did Hull pull off the transfer window coup that every single Championship club wanted? We're looking at the February fixtures for Hull. How good or bad are they? And we're asking this lot to pick their unsung player of the month for January. And at this final bit of the video, if you're still around, and hopefully you will be, we're picking our worst ever Hull City midfield to complete the worst ever Hull 11, which we've been doing in the month of January. We have got Ben, Jack, and Matty back with us to talk about that Stoke disaster. Yeah, who saw this coming? Not me. My betting slip didn't definitely see this coming, so I'm not happy with Hull this week. Thank you very much. Ben, let's jump straight into it, though. This Regan Slater debate. Tiger Delic says, it blows my mind how much flack Regan Slater gets on here. We are lucky to have him. There's a couple of defensive mistakes cost us this afternoon. It was absolutely nothing to do with Slater. And Solly says, Regan Slater gets away with doing F4 week in, week out, and we wonder why we're in a relegation scrap. He might be a good lad and run 14 kilometres every game, but effing come on, typical City. And that was just a flavour of the division around Regan Slater. So, Ben, over to you.
I think it's sort of justified to an extent. Sometimes he does have poor performances, but I think the majority of it is very reactionary, and a lot of people, almost as soon as it's full time, hop onto Twitter and like the typical League One players that we call them, the ones that played for City the majority of the time in League One, seem to be the scapegoats for a lot of people. I don't think it's fair. I mean, others like Sean McLaughlin recently have been playing really well, especially out of position. Alfie Jones has been one of City's more consistent players, and Regan Slater's done well. He did well last season. I think he's done well this season. I don't think he's been as bad as people have made out to be. So I think it's unfair, but there are times when he does do something that's a bit like, it's a bit disappointing. But I think a lot of the players in that team defensively were not quite at it. For both of the goals, they were quite easy to stop in terms of like the defensive errors. So yeah, it's not like, it shouldn't all just be pinned on someone like Regan Slater.
Well, unfortunately for him, whether that's right or not, Ben, it seems to be. Matty, what do you with this? Another one says Regan Slater is brilliant when you need legs in midfield. He's absolutely useless when you need him to control a game and score a goal. How he stays on the pitch when we're chasing the game and Matazzo is subbed and Poeta is sat on the bench is absolutely baffling. Do you agree with those points?
I'm similar to Ben. I think he is a bit of I think he does get a lot of flack, and I don't honestly think he's been that bad this season. I think Saturday was the first time when and I'm not questioning Sellers at all, but I think he made the wrong subs, and I think that ended up costing us the game. Slater should have come off, and Poeta should have definitely have come on, because as soon as we conceded the goal, the equaliser, all the confidence just went out of the team whatsoever. So, and we did lack the control in midfield. The first half we had Alzate and Matosa, the new lad, were absolutely fantastic, and we ran the show. But the second half, Stoke made a couple of changes. The Japanese lad that they've got just absolutely just took over the pitch, and he just ran the show for him. So I do get it that it should have changed, and possibly Slater should have come off. And same with Kamara. Kamara shouldn't have come off as well. Geldart should have come off. He didn't. He was ineffective. So it's a bit harsh on Slater, because I think he is that driving force in midfield that we don't seem to have. He will pick up the ball and he will drive with it. he's probably lacking a bit of confidence and a bit of quality that we do need in there in terms of that control, which we seem to have against Sheffield United. And then, we concede that goal and confidence is just drained out of the team. So it's a bit harsh on Slater. I think he's probably been one of the most consistent players over the 3 seasons since he's come in. He's probably been one of the most consistent, and he can't have been that bad when he was in that team that we had last year, and he was on the team sheet every week as well under a senior. So yeah, it's a bit harsh on the lad, but yeah.
Okay. To finish this off, Adrian says all this Slater slander is just lazy. He's not as easy on the eye and the ball as Matazo and Azati, but he had a good game yesterday. He's constantly driving forward, good link-up play and strong press and defence. The whole team played well. We created lots of chances. We just didn't take them. Is that a fair comment, Jack?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the last part of that sentence. I mean, paragraph. We could have been 3-0 up easily in the first half. We had that Mateza is striking, and it just got saved, and they had a couple of chances off target. And it could have been a completely different game. But yeah, just like another typical Hull City style of game, we don't take the chances and we get punished from in the second half. But yeah, just to add on Regan Slater, I do like Regan Slater. But yeah, the whole substitutions was a bit wrong from Sellers, as the guys have already said. I thought that when I was watching the game, I was like, but it was just not well managed. I think Sheffield United the game was going our way, so any substitution was all right. But yeah, he got it wrong a little bit on Saturday. But he'll learn from the mistakes, just like the players will learn from them, and we push on forward and we keep going.
Okay. So yes, Louis Barry then, Ben, was brought on in the second half, and of course, since we last met you, there was no signs of this last week when we asked you what's coming in. So it all happened. Being good friends with Aston Villa, I think, was what did it. But is this a signing that the fan base are getting excited about? And how did he do for you when he came on?
I mean, I think it should be a signing that the whole of the fan base is excited about, because obviously we'd seen what he'd done at Stockport in the first half of the League One campaign. I think he's still second top goal scorer in League One as well, which is mental considering he's not played since December. But I think he didn't really get much of a chance to do a lot against Stoke. He had almost as soon as he came on, it was like a little dribble at the defenders, which was quite good. He looked sharp. He looked like he had a bit of pace about him, which is, I think it's what City need. Obviously, we've had Kamara on the other side, he's done it in flashes, but not been consistent enough. But I think it's one that's promising, and I'm hoping that he can be as good as he was for Stockport for City in the latter half of the season, and hopefully almost be the spark that City need to just get a few more goals each game and just push us over the line a little bit, because I think he has the ability to do that. It's clear that he's a very, very talented young lad. But yeah, I don't think he did a great deal on Saturday, but I don't think it's fair to judge him from, 20 odd minutes just yet.
Oh, cheers, Ben. There were some Hull fans that did judge him, though. And I tell you what, you lot, when you lose, you like to get on social media, don't you? This was Dan's view. I'm not having this was just one of many, so it's not a go at Dan. Playing well, lost our shape a bit second half. First start and first home game for some also players. Matazo looked great, but he needs to lose a few pounds. And Barry looked off the pace a bit. Azati is class, but he was looking tired. Second half was making mistakes, knowing when to sub. Yes, so you've got overweight players and a few lazy players, Matt. You'll be all right, won't you?
Yeah, I think we've said it, haven't we, over the few weeks? We're one extreme to the other, aren't we? It's just ridiculous. I think you have to give actually Stoke some credit. For 40 minutes, they were awful, but then probably their turning point was actually their fullback getting injured. Lyndon, was it Gooch or whatever? He got injured, and they brought on the other player. He was miles better. I don't know why he didn't start, but as soon as he came on, he kind of showed up that side, and that's where we did look dangerous down that left hand side. He came on, he changed the game. So yeah, I think it was just a case of we just lose our confidence as soon as that goal went in. We just shrank as a team, and it needs. I think I tweeted saying it needs leadership. We've got all these new players in. We're lacking a bit of experience, just a bit of leadership to get somebody to get hold of the ball. What we needed to do was get hold of the ball that second half and keep the ball rather than just trying to just attack all the time. Keep the ball. We've got a point. Yeah, it's not great. It's not brilliant, but let's just build on what we've got. Get a point. Move on to the next game. And I know we all want to win and we want to push on and whatever else, but sometimes it just needs somebody on that pitch, a bit of game management to say, right, let's hold what we've got. Let's take what we've got. If we get an opportunity to go forward, brilliant. If not, let's not just give it away. And that's what killed us. And then as soon as we went behind, I knew we weren't going to get back into the game. I just knew we weren't going to get back into the game because it's all about momentum, isn't it? And we had no momentum whatsoever that second half. So Louis Barry, he didn't really do much, but I think that was down to the fullback. I think he actually had a really good game when he came on. So got to give them some credit as well.
And another loss at the MKM. My goodness, we play look at your fixtures. And actually, you've got more fixtures away from home this month than you have at home. So that's a positive. Jack, I've left this one for you in particular, though. We've said hello to Louis Barry, but we've with a tear in our eye had to say goodbye to your mate Chris this week. His loan for Union Berlin was cancelled because he's now joined Young Boys, the worst team in the Champions League. I think. What do you make to this? Yeah. What do you make to this, Jack? And talk us through your Bedia highlights for you.
Probably I don't know. The best one's probably him scoring at QPR, but other than that, it's just been a bit of a waste of time. I mean, he wasn't even on the bench. Was he even on the bench the last couple of games? I don't want to be wrong in saying this, but I've not seen him. So obviously, the manager knew he wasn't really. He might have been already. The move might have been already made, but yeah, I just think it was just a waste. It was a bit sloppy. He wasn't championship level or our level anyway, especially when we're pushing for that. Top half of the table now, and he wouldn't have been played with the squad we have now. So yeah, I'm glad he's gone. I mean, he wasn't the best to bring on in a second half or anything. He was just his lack of turning and scoring. He just wouldn't do anything. He'd just get the ball, he'd lose it, and I'm going to go on a rant here, but I'll keep it short. But he was just a dull player. I mean, I don't like being mean to people, but yeah, he was definitely not our level, and I'll happily take him to Young Boys, and he can go. And we've got a good replacement in Louis Barry, so I'm happy with that.
Any other Chris Bedia highlights?
No, it's all right.
I don't think so. I think he summed it up well there, Jack. I think it's just his general lack of enthusiasm was what annoyed you, especially when you've got somebody like Pedro who come on and is twice his age virtually, and put himself about on the pitch, and then you replaced him with Bedia, and it's just like, well, what is the point? You may as well stick me on a 45-year-old 16 stone. I'd have probably run around more than he would have. I'd have been more of a physical presence. So no, see you later, mate.
It didn't really look. His whole attitude didn't look enthusiastic. Like you said, he didn't
even warm up well. Like when he's running, he just trot and just like, oh, you're not really doing much, are you? So
no, it's just doing those daft little leg swings and stuff on the sideline, and it's just I was just like, what are you actually here for? I know you're gonna get a few grand in your pocket, but yeah. Oh dear. Well, at least he's gone now, so. Let's move on.
Return your Chris Bedia to the shop, Jack. You have to return it. See if you can get a refund. See if you can get married.
I'll have to get Pedro.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right. Let's have a look at what February's got in store for Hull. Then, shall we? We've already mentioned that you're away from home more than you are at the MKM. So trips to Burnley, Sunderland, and Cardiff, though. It couldn't come a little bit easier, especially a midweek Wednesday night trip across to Wales. My God, they don't like you very much, these schedulers, do they, Ben?
Free travel though, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is for that one, I'm pretty sure. Okay. But yeah, it's a tough run. Even Norwich in the middle of that, they've started to pick up a little bit with Josh Sargent coming back from injury, which is a scary thought for us. Yeah, it is a tough run of 4 games. Obviously, Cardiff are down there with us. Burnley and Sunderland are up there at the top, and Norwich will probably be trying their best to make it into the top 6. So, yeah, it's just. I mean, we've said it before when we've had a tough run of games, like that run around Christmas where we played Blackburn and won away. There is definitely possibility that we can get points from those games. I'd happily take a 0-0 against Burnley. It seems to be the common theme with a lot of their games. We seem to also do all right away at Sunderland. I mean, we have recently. But yeah.
We've always done well at Cardiff as well, haven't we? To be fair. So.
That's true as well.
7 seasons, double, isn't it? Double the wins.
Yeah. Look, at the moment, we can't do anything at home. So, away from home is where we're going to pick up the points, which is, Sheffield United is now the benchmark, isn't it? We've gone there and we've beaten them. I don't fear going away to any of those teams and thinking, oh, we're going to get absolutely tonked. I am actually thinking that's probably where we're going to pick up our points. Put a spanner in the works in Sunderland and Burnley and pick up a point there or a couple of points or win or whatever. It wouldn't surprise me. It's that the home form is the concern, isn't it? It's a massive, massive concern.
Yeah. Does it mean Derby, who are just below you, will play twice before you even kick a ball because of just how the FA Cup has fallen? I mean, psychologically, at this point in the season, Jack, does it the mindset of players is if you're in the bottom 3, is that psychologically different if you're hovering above it?
It's a tricky one. I'm sure the players will all have their own. They would have had the discussion about what they want to do and everything. But yeah, I think those away wins are really vital at the moment for us to push on. I think if they know they can go away and they can impress. I mean, looking at Burnley's away home record, I think I saw they got 0-0, 1-1 draws for the past whatever games it is. Sunderland, like Ben said, would do very well there. And Cardiff, again, we've done well there. So if you look at our away form, I think psychologically they'll be a bit positive, but then after these defeats at home, they'll be a bit thingy. So they're just gonna have to work something out. I mean, I don't know I ain't done the maths behind it, but I don't know if we win all our away games, we should be able to stay up, or even if we draw a few of them as well. I'm not saying we have to do that, but if worse comes to it, and if we can't pick up any form at home, I think it's going to have to come down to the away games. Which is, I mean, if we graft hard and we get those points on the road, I think it'll be positive. But yeah, I don't see any other way of getting the points. So that, and probably they'll be thinking that as well. So
okay.
Who knows?
It's sad, isn't it? It's sad because it was just like we're thinking, oh, if we can just get a win at home, we'll be all right. And we shouldn't be thinking like that. We should be thinking, the MK is a fortress, but it's not that. It's not working out like that, and it's frustrating. And again, a decent crowd on Saturday, great atmosphere to start off with, great get that goal, and that one goal just absolutely drained everything out of the stadium, the energy and everything. So it's just. Yeah, it's a worrying time at home. So
it's all right getting a 3-0 win against Sheffield United, but it's how you back up that win at home. I mean, it could have been a one-off. We've all got excited over a 3-0 win against Sheffield, which is rightly so. But then we have to go and beat. I think those below us when we played them. We've got to beat Stoke if we're going to beat Sheffield, or if we're going to go up the league. We need to be beating those around us. So yeah, it's kind of made me worry. Was that win just a one-off, or are we actually better away from home? I don't know. It's really like apprehensive about the end of the season. It could go anywhere.
Okay. Well, stay with us. We'll be with you throughout the remaining 20-odd games that are left. Do drop us a subscribe if you haven't yet done so. That'd be absolutely amazing. Let's get our quick January Player of the Month awards, shall we? Choosing a player that perhaps doesn't get the official club one, deserves some flowers. Ben?
I don't know, to be honest. I think I'd give an honourable mention to someone like Harry Vaughan. I think he's done well. Probably not the top of everyone's list, but he's had his chance to come back in and he's done well. There's been a couple of decent ones, but I don't know. I'm going to go with Harry Vaughan. I know you two probably will have someone different, but I think
That's what we want.
he's done well. He's done well for the
Matty?
few games he's had.
Matty?
I think the obvious one is Alzate and probably Puerta, probably being the outstanding ones, but probably notable mention. I think McLaughlin, again, we keep saying him all the time. He's consistent. He's played well at left back. He's played well at centre back. He don't put a foot wrong. He never puts a foot wrong for me, and I don't get all the criticism that comes his way. Yeah, he's not. He's not. I think I called him Macabauer. Now he's now called Macabauer after Beckenbauer because he was just like he's absolutely awesome. So I think I think he's played well. He's 7 out of 10 every week for me. So I'll give it to him, unsung hero.
Good stuff. Just before we get Jack's answer, you can help us with the final bit of our episode this week by letting us know in the comments who the worst midfielder is we've ever signed. We're going to get to that in a second. Jack, your January player of the month is?
I'm gonna have to go Maka. I thought of him when I first came onto the podcast. So yeah, gonna go to Maka. Just 100% putting every effort into his defence, and ever since he's been put in left back as well, I think he's just been incredible. So hopefully that's his position now, and now he can improve as a player. Then be always our number one left back, which is strange because I didn't think we'd have a left back like Maka. We was all worrying about having no left back, so now we have one, and we've also got Matty Jacob as a good backup. So it's all worked out well.
Okay. Good stuff. Right then, the last 3 weeks we've been making the worst ever whole 11. We've done goalkeepers, we've done strikers, we did defenders last week. Go and check that one out if you haven't seen it. So we're going to finish it off. We need to put a midfield in, a 4-man midfield, if that's okay. And help us out in the comments as you have done in the past. You've been great suggesting some horrendous players. We're doing this because January's been rubbish. Jack, kick this one off for us then, please.
Well, I was actually hoping you could throw it to these two first because my experience is not as good as these two. So can we start with Matty or Ben, and then I'll have a think.
Okay, Matty, you've only had a week to think about it. I mean, come on. What else have you got to do? Yeah, right. GCSEs, not important, are they? Come on,
well,
Matty.
Yeah, exactly. This is far more priority, Jack, than that.
Try telling my teachers that.
Yeah, right.
Right. So here it goes. The list. Kevin Stewart. First of all, he's named after 2 Minions, so he is absolutely terrible. I think we got him as part of was it part of the Robertson deal? He came. Oh my God, he's awful. So Kevin Stewart. I've got Milinkovic, who we signed from Hibs, I believe, who was absolutely unbelievable up there. Came down to us, awful. Jason Lakilov, a couple of last season before, another one, absolute rubbish. Just, I think they come to us and then they get and then we've had a couple since that have got like Lakiloitis and they just don't want to take players on. It's just like awful. I'm going a bit further. I'll put Cynic in there because I think. We've paid all that money for him, and I don't think we've ever seen him play. A few older players that I put in there were James Harper, who we signed who played at Reading when they were in the Premier League years ago, and he came to us on the free transfer. Was not very good. And Junior Lewis, who we signed from Leicester, who came with a really big reputation, and again, just absolutely dreadful. So, out to add to that, Ben, please go for it.
I mean, we've had a lot. We've had a lot of howlers in midfield. 2 more recent-ish ones that I have on my list are Ben Arthur. He just was absolutely dreadful. Tom Ince as well, a very hyped-up player, came in, did pretty much nothing. Marcus Maddison, if anyone even remembers him. I don't think... I'm not sure what his situation is now, so I won't comment anything further. But and the other one I had is Dokan Cynic because he's just made of glass. We paid, was it 4 or 5 million for him, and I think he's played about 12 or 13 games in 3 years he's been here. So yeah, any of them are just. We've had a lot of stinkers in midfield, to be honest.
Yep, absolutely. Could fill 2 midfields with that, can't we? Any to add, Jack, or any one of those names resonating with you?
Well, one did pop into my brain just before you, and you've already said it. I was going to go Jason Lakila. I think he was another waste of a signing. So he just never took on his man. So, and it was just a bit of a waste of time. I know he got a goal in the was it the FA Cup or one of the cups, but other than that, he didn't do anything. So for me, it'd be Jason Lakila. And I don't know if Malcolm Ebiue was a midfielder or a forward, but if he was a midfielder, because I think he can fluctuate. But I'd have to stick Malcolm and Jason in there just for poor signings. Didn't work it out.
All right. Thank you very much, fellas, for all your work on this Worst 11. Next week, we'll see it on the screen fully. And also, we're asking these guys to pick the captain of the side, the worst of the worst that they've selected over the last 3 weeks. That's going to be a tough conversation. And also, who's the worst ever whole manager? Because we need a manager to take this side.
That's an easier one. I can do that one.
I wonder what they're going to say. Right. Cheers for that. Join us next week for that one. It's also Valentine's Day, of course, next week. So we'll be asking these three how they fell in love with Hull. What age were they? How did it happen? So join us for their love stories next week. Right. Thank you very much, you three. Enjoy the. Oh, there's no game this weekend, so a weekend off. We'll chat to you next week about no football. Right. Enjoy the weekend for once. See you then.